Wow. Thank you, Kenoshi Juanito. I had a little problem with Google, so I have to start all over again. I apologize for the late start. The mic was not being received by Google. That's my fault right there. And think about it. I was talking for a whole while. It was set up on. It was set up. So let me start again, and I apologize for that deeply because this is a conversation that I think people need to have. So with that said, this show right here is being recorded for the radio show that I do later on. I have again apologize for the late start. Thank you for Konoshi Baramito. You will be getting one of the links later on that I'll send out. So I hope you listen and then you could jump in when the time comes in. So with that said, I want to let people understand this. Like I'm doing this in a place that I normally don't do this kind of podcast, but the issue has been crazy, and I want to talk about what happened last week, which was a, a big blip in the map, really, but not really when it comes to senseless violence. But a lot of people died senselessly last week. So with that said, those who are invited who come to listen to the radio show and see this, I'm going to use a different name because of where this is being recorded right now. I'm going to use a different name and culture to say so anybody who comes in, they'll say me by a different name than the usual name because the drama is not needed on this channel. But I'm using this platform just to speak out my mind. I have a conversation with other people who want to talk about this conversation. So I want to thank anybody who is joining again. And if you're listening, like I said, I will ask a couple of people to join on in to be a part of this conversation. And with that said, but before that, I wanted to do a monologue. I wanted to do something so people can understand where I'm coming from. And I first of all, before I even get into that, I want to apologize to people because this is because of this channel. This is a serious talk, and normally politics and stuff is also not politics really, but politics and religion and all that stuff like this, which is getting very divisive, hurts a lot of people. So you might like the way I think about gaming, but then you might not like the way I think about you might not like the way I think about certain politics and stuff like that. So with that said, I want to set up certain things and also tell my story as a certain thing and then go with that point of view and then invite people in and see what they're talking. So I'm looking for about 5 people. I know another person who wants to jump in and I hope she's listening. And like I said, sorry for the late start because Google was messing me up. So with that said, like I said, this is recorded for the radio show, so I got to be a little more proper than I usually am. So for those who are listening, who's listened to me before, who's listened to the radio show and stuff like that, I'm repeating this stuff. But on this channel, a lot of people never heard this stuff. And if they do, and again, if you unsubscribe from this channel, hey, thank you for listening. If this is not something that you don't like about me, it's cool. We could part in good ways. So the point I'm going to talk about is what happened last week. Things have happened last week that were crazy. And a lot of people lost their lives to senseless violence. Good, bad, we don't know. Sometimes we don't even know what happened. But it was a part of the tapestry of, people would say America, but I think of the human race. Now, I want to set certain things up for people. Yes, I'm a black person, but I didn't came from this country. I didn't came from America. I was born in a different country. Those who listen from the radio show, they know where I came from, and whatever. And I see things maybe differently than most people. I've said it before, and that there's nobody out there who could say they're unbiased because they're not. There's no unbiased in people. Your experience is going to change you to what it is. But let me lay down the foreground of what I'm going to say. The foreground is basically this. Other than health and goodwill, health and pro health and pro exercise and stuff like that, I'll say this. I want, this is the things that I'm pro. When it comes to society, I'm basically pro something, and this is what I'm pro of. I'm pro a decent person, a person who has a moral compass and doesn't take away liberties from other people. I am pro a productive citizen, that whatever you put, what you should be working, and whatever work you put in, and also is you got to be a citizen. I am 100% with that. If you put in your work and you work your work, you should get you should be compensated equally, no matter what it is. I am pro relationship, gay, transgender, interracial. I don't care. Even if I'm basically pro marriage, but if marriage is not your thing and you want to be with somebody, I'm pro that as well too. Because I think it's cool to have somebody to share experiences with life, so you don't be so lonely. If you want to be a hermit, that's your choice. That's good. And I'm also pro family. I think that that's the basis of our society, and I think that we need to have two pillars of society that makes our foundation strong. And I think family is that. So I've said pro. This is what I'm pro at. But in that conversation, I never say pro-black, because I'm not pro-black. I'm not pro-white. I'm not pro-Hispanic. I'm not pro-Asian. All those things I just listed off right there is for any race. If you are doing that, and no matter what color you are, then you know what? I want to be cool. Then you got me 100%. Got me. Got my corporation, and that I will back you up in any means necessary. Now. But again, we have situations that divide us all the time. As most you see, again, that says I'm black, but you see, it's not a black thing to a degree too, because I've seen liberals who don't, because some people, as I had a video on this channel from the people who don't know about this, talking about how a person commented on a video that I did but didn't watch the video. And the problem that's going on is we don't get all the information together. Now, we ain't gonna get all the information all the time, but there are liberals who don't listen to Fox News because they say Fox News is racist. There's some conservatives that don't listen to MSNBC or CNN because they say because they're too liberals or whatever. See, and that's what's dividing us apart. Same thing with that. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a left. I'm not a right. When it comes to my family, my money, I'm conservative. When it comes to your rights to do what you want to do and you're not hurting nobody, I'm liberal. I don't care. I'm basically a libertarian. I am a registered libertarian, but I don't care for that regard. But I cannot look and just watch one set of news and not see what the other side is, because sometimes the other side is right. So I watch Fox News. I watch ABC, MSNBC, NBC, and CNN, even BBC America, because it's an outside source looking in that makes things look at society a different way. I take in all those news. And if you do that, you might get a different perspective. And for people who listen to on this channel, know that that's the same thing I go when I do my videos. I never said I was unbiased, because that word does not exist like a unicorn. Everybody has different experiences that's going to change their lives, and they're going to be a certain way because of their experiences. So I can't mistake and judge somebody because of their experiences, which I'm going to talk about my experiences and things like that. And then after that, I'll invite people into the talks. But I'm saying that this stuff is making it divisive and making it very hard for us to come together as one unit to come to fight. Before I started this podcast, I was talking to a young lady, and the young lady was telling me about the Black Lives Matter and all that stuff like that. And she knows who she is. If she's listening, thank you. But I was like, there's things in Black Lives Matter that I agree with, but majority I don't, because of how it's put together. But because of Black Lives Matter and what happens in the organization of Black Lives Matter, then we have All Lives Matter that came a rebuttal to Black Lives Matter. And there's certain things in All Lives Matter I can understand for the degree too, but it's not that. And the same thing goes for Blue Lives Matter. And those three things separate each other. And because those three things came together because of how certain things are, they separate themselves and they make things worse than it needs to be, because we're dividing ourselves all the time, and we don't get to talk about the issues we're talking about. Now, in this conversation, I'm not solving them, because this is not going to be a silver bullet. This is not no magic potion that's going to sprinkle this and this is going to end. No, it's not. It is several things that needs to come together to work to stop this. And the way certain organizations are doing this is not helping the situation. That's what's going on. A lot of the things that the organizations are doing, or that are getting, how should I say it, imposed on, is messing up what's going on with the real message. There are things in, like I said, so I break it down. There are things in Black Lives Matter that, you know, there are people out there who just want, who understand, who want to do good, and they want it to be racial. But because the unity is not there, the other people who take it to that racial point, and it makes more animosity, and that breed All Lives Matter into it. And at All Lives Matter, I agree with some things about that, but I don't agree with them fully, because that right there is just an answer or rebuttal to what they said, and then they don't take in certain accounts of what's going on with the numbers, and which I'm going to basically bring up as well too. And then Blue Lives Matter, it is what it is. So before I get into the numbers, I want to state this. So I'm going to state that the numbers I got, and the numbers that I got, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about numbers from the Justice Department. So you go to the U.S. Department of Adjustment.gov. You go to the Census Bureau.gov or Census.gov to get some of these numbers I'm talking about. Howard University, which was authored by a Black gentleman, did a study about what's going on, and he was surprised himself as a Black guy to see certain things going on. And certain issues, those were basically where I'm getting my numbers from when I dish out numbers. So you have a place to go check and look at these things. So last week we had two killings, and then we had 5 killings after that as a retaliation. Not per se because of it, but because the animosity of anarchy is breathing hatred into this society, and that's what's happening right now. So as of when Alton Sterling died, he was the 580th person to get killed by the cops in 2016. This is just Department of Justice numbers, 2016. He was the 114th Black person to be killed in 2016. That leaves 474 people that was killed by the officers. And this is why I say I got to separate stuff out and give you the number, because so the majority of that 474 people, was basically white people. And the next race below that was Hispanic. Then came Black. The margin is wide. Now, they never said that it was they never said it was justified or unjustified, or the cops was right, the cops was wrong. They just gave you the simple numbers of who got killed and who got killed by the cops, and it break it down by race. Now, with that experience, like I was saying before, there are experiences that people have that they grew up with, and I don't want to say I could try to change their experiences really, because their experiences and what their experiences I can relate to and I can't relate to in a regard. Because if you live a certain situation, you're gonna have your bias gets stronger and stronger. Understandable that. I can respect that, understand that, but we still need to detach yourself to understand if we have an issue, we just can't do it in a certain way. We have to come together and take care of it. We really do. Now, in those numbers that I just gave you, now this is an aspect, and like I said, talking to the young lady, she was like, "Well, we don't want nobody to say, well, Black Lives Matter. We should," and then we have to talk. She said we don't have to talk about it because it's a specific issue, but we still have to talk about this. In Chicago right now, as of the same thing with Alton Sterling's death, there are 2,000 Black people that got killed. 2,000 people that got killed. I'm sorry, 2,000 people that got killed, and 97% of them was Black people, and it was Black on Black crime. See, that's a number we also got to work with and also stop that. Now people are like, well, that's just, you're just saying that because of, you know, this Black Lives Matter means to cops. But if you see, if you go by this, if you go at this alone, you have a big problem, because this is America. 30%, 14% of the population is black, but 98% of the cops in America are white. The numbers will never find out to make it equal. It will never, not no time soon. As the police chief said in Dallas, he said, why don't we try to hire people to go into the neighborhoods, black people go in the neighborhoods to go feel safe and do that stuff. But yeah, we don't. It's up to some black people to take that opportunity to say, you want to do a change, then do that change for your community. Come together and do that. Then, so with that number of 97% it's gonna be a majority of white people gonna be your officers. And with that saying, if Black Lives Matter, we need to come together and say, okay, we need to stop police brutality. But we have to come with a united front, because if I have people who are different races that comes together and help us all as one to stop police brutality, then your message will become more cohesive and more stronger. Because there are black kids, there are black teenagers and kids that are killed by black cops. But I have not seen Black Lives Matter march at those protests. There's one in New York. There was one in San Francisco. There was one in Modesto. There was one in Portland, and and there's a ton in Chicago. If that debunks your words right there. If you say Black Lives Matter, if it's a cop thing, because then we gotta stop the black cops from killing black kids. Now, I'm just saying in general. They're still up there in investigation to find out if there was a justified shooting or not a justified shooting. That's not what I'm talking about. And a lot of people say, well, he was just putting hands behind your head, and I'll get to that in a moment. But he put his hand behind the head and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm just saying shooting in general. We have to come to it as a forefront. So when a white kid, like what happened this also happened in Modesto, California, who got killed, we should be up there saying, you know what, stop police brutality. If it's a white person, or it's a Hispanic, or it's an Asian, or it's a female, or it's a dude, come with a united front. When you come with that cohesiveness, a lot of people will come onto you and join on with your banner. That's what I think. Because when we try to and this is the one thing against movements I don't like, is you cannot try to ask for equal rights but special treatment. That always breeds animosity, and that's not an American thing. That is a universal thing that's been happening all the time. Greeks did this, the Romans did this, the Chinese did this, all these empires, when people came up and tried to ask for equal rights, it created more animosity because they wanted special treatment. And people's like, okay, I work this much. You always get that. Best example, I don't like certain people who I know are very healthy people, but they don't do no work, but they get my taxpayer money to do nothing. And I don't mean, and that's all races. I don't care what race you are, black, white, Hispanic, I don't care. You should not get that thing. But you want to have the same rights as me because I work hard, and then you want to sit home and not do nothing? You're not a productive citizen of the society. But you want that same right to get that? I think not. And that's my animosity to that person, because I'm working my butt off in the hot sun, or working 40 hours of the week and whatever, and you're getting that benefit. No. And I'm talking about capable minded person, not person who's disabled, please. So don't let nobody get it twisted. We have more than enough tax dollars to take care of people who are wheelchair bound, veterans, everything like that. But there are many people out there who are scamming the system, and they're asking for the equal rights, and that's the animosity we have. And when you keep on doing that, that's when you're gonna get bad things keep on happening. And that's what I'm trying to say. We cannot ask for saying that, hey, cops, stop beating us down as black people. And then when a white person next to us get that same thing, or a Hispanic or Asian, we can't just walk away because they're not the same color as us. That's wrong. And then that makes your movement very weak. It's very, very weak. That's a situation I think a lot of people need to understand when it comes into these things. Now, again, I can't say all lives matter either, because I've stated this. I've stated this with people off air, on the show and stuff like that. Like, I don't wish death or hurt pains to any person, but I cannot, in all honesty, say to you, all lives matter. Because if you're trying to hurt me and my family, or you break into my house, or you trying to do bodily harm to me, your life ain't worth nothing than a piece of paper to me. I will take you down. And of course, somebody would say, well, that's self-defense. Well, then, but it's still a life. It's still a life. Why can't we just say, okay, then that null and voids that, because majority of people will do that. It will happen. There are people who say they would never kill a bug, but in situations of that, they'll do messed up stuff like that. Now, again, I can't say, going again with the experiences I was talking about, cops and blacks and whites and Hispanic, but let's just say this: cops have got certain experiences. They've seen certain experiences. They can't take their eyes off it. I've said this many times to people. Always said, "Oh man, we need to. We're gonna try to stop. We're gonna stop. We're gonna try to stop prejudice and racial profiling and everything like that." Let's be honest. You cannot. It is a part of your DNA. No matter how much you say, "Oh, I don't judge people," you do. It's a part of our nature. If you don't do that, you will die. Because every one of us has a situation, has a point that a certain person, you have a bad vibe about a person, a gut feeling, a tingling feeling. This person, this situation, this moment is not right. And that's your prejudgment, your prejudice coming through. People use one thing I've learned when it comes to America, people use the words in the wrong context and the wrong definition. Those who've been following me on gaming know what I'm talking about, but they use it in the wrong way. But that's your spider senses tingling, saying something ain't right. So if you've been put to certain situations all the time, then yes, it's going to go that way. But again, people are talking about, oh, we're going to have in 1,000 years from now, all of us going to be the same race of color, skin, or whatever. Yeah. If that happens, here's the thing, but we're still going to separate ourselves. It's in our nature to do that. If all of us were the same color, we're going to separate ourselves by features. You got a bigger nose than me, bigger ears, big lips. You're fat, you're small, you're skinny, you're tall. You're going to still separate your hair texture. You're going to separate that way. And if we all are the same person, hair, mannequin, cookie cutter, no matter what, we're going to separate ourselves by region, from east, north, south, west, even down to the cities. I'm uptown, I'm downtown, I'm hood, I'm suburban, I'm urban. We all do that. It's not going to ever stop. Your prejudice is going to be there for the life. So when people say, I never judge nobody, I never believe them, because they don't. They always do. You would judge a bad person when you see a bad person. So it's funny. Now, you should learn the character of a person. You should not judge them by their skin. But again, that all depends on their experiences. I cannot begrudge a Hispanic man who've got beaten by black kids all the time, and then he grew up and he has a certain way to black people. Neither can I say a black man who did the same thing with white people. I can't say that either. But a lot of people's biases become reinforced because of stuff, and they don't look at things objectively. And when that happens, that's when we go down to the road of negativity and divisiveness. That's the problem that's going on. And the statistic numbers from the Justice Department, because of the numbers, and people, we got to use the numbers and statistics in the right way, because of the numbers, white people get killed by the cops more than black people. Now, statistically, why black people get harassed by white people, by the cops. I'm sorry, by the cops more. My goof on that. They do get harassed more than the cops. The cops go around, they see certain things, they do get harassed. And like I said, I'll tell my story about that before I let anybody in about my situation. So yeah, but that number does, like I said, we trying to stop police brutality. We have to stop it on all fronts. Now, the next thing I will say before I get into the story too is like, so we got to do that. And the cameras right now has not helped out the situation, because a lot of people say, oh, the body cameras is helping out. It has and it has not. And Facebook Live, as one of the situations was, has helped and has not. The cameras could also be can be manufactured, not by tampering, but when a person takes a picture, or when they start the record button, or when they stop the record button. That also can tell a story and change the story totally from what really happened in real life. Body cameras done, as much as you say body cameras are good for the cops. Well, if I know exactly, and this is devil's advocate, if I know exactly where the body camera is pointing, I could point the camera a certain way and put you off screen and still say stuff, even though you ain't doing nothing right, the right way, even though you're doing things the right way, and still make it that you're doing the horrible thing if I'm a crooked cop. Or if I did something horrible, wrong, and I messed up, like, oh crap, I could cover it and say that, like, the camera's not pointing at you, and you be like, hey, this guy, you're holding my gun, why you took my gun, or what? And you can't see that off the screen, and then he would say, or the audio is saying that he holds the guy took his gun, and the cop was in the right to shoot him, but the camera was pointing towards the sky or towards something else. Same thing goes for standbys, innocent, witnesses and stuff like that. They could be watching something else, but they might have never saw the 15th time the cop said, "Hey, put your hand behind your head and just and stand on the ground." And then then the guy might have did something weird, or female, whatever. The person did something weird that raised the cop's suspicion, and then a person who just walking by or whatever pull out the camera phone and took it then, and it looks like the cop just went in there with no issues, whatever, and started beating on this person without knowing the pretext before. Or they could say, well, this was happening, and then stop the video and then find out because there was an incident in California on the Capitol Hill in Sacramento where this lady, not this lady, that's the next situation I might bring up when I have people on there, if people will be butt about certain stuff. But when you have this people was like looking, and the cops, this guy was in front of cops, and these guys were beating up on a cop, and the guy was like, "Can you help me?" And what the cops was looking to make sure that you see the cops looking around, but people think, oh, the cops looking around, they're not looking, and then they stopped the camera right there. But another camera picked up that they were looking around so they could see, they could cordial off, where they cordial off the person and arrested those people who were beating up the guy and helped the guy to the ambulance. They didn't want to jump in the fracas because there was a lot of stuff going on and people were storing stuff, and it just, you can't just go in willy-nilly and hurt yourself as well too. But that first video shows that the cops didn't care. And that's because they stopped the recording at that time. So that doesn't, like I said, that's helpful or not. And there are people out there who feel more braggadocious because they know they have cameras out there. There are people who see the camera and they act more, I don't know, I can't say brave, because sometimes you get killed, so that's stupid. You act braggadocious. You really do. You get a little off in your chest that, oh, this camera's recording me, so I can go a little further. Oh, you're doing this and whatever, and mess with it. No, that's not helping. That's not helping the situation at all. So again, that's the next case of a point out that cameras could be good and could be bad. That's how I look at things as an objective person, to go both ways and see, wow, this is crazy. It could be that way, and it could be this way. We don't know until we have conclusive evidence in certain things. Now, there also a thing that I don't like in Black Lives Matter, and I'm bringing them up because they also have people out, like I said, I've said before, there are people out there who don't have good intentions. They just want anarchy. Now, what happened in Dallas? They protested. They had a protest. It was civil. It was peaceful. But one lone person acted stupid. And people are saying that he hated white people and all the cops. That don't mean nothing. He took a part of that and used it as a shield. Now, as a person, as I was talking to her female, she was saying that she never seen it. And I know people out there have seen it. They're Facebook posting, Google posting. There are people out there who said that are crazy to say this, and basically they're anarchists who's saying about that was right for the black, whoever did it, to shoot the cops and stuff like that. Bring down a law, bring down these pigs. I'm like, wow. And it's making more anosopy. I mean, it's just making things just way worse than it needs to be. It really is. Another factor we need to worry about is, as in the family aspect, we need to teach our kids to, you know what, people will say, oh, that's wrong, but I have evidence on my experience shows that we need to teach our kids to obey and obey and just not be very negative towards the cops all the time. Don't be a smart ass. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't act out. Because again, just because he arrests you doesn't mean that, just because they handcuff you doesn't mean you're arrested and you're gonna get. If they took you down to the precinct and they fingerprint you and book you, then you have a record. But there are times they just arrest you just to keep you and other people out of trouble for their own safety. Then they unhandcuff you and you could go your way. But people take it as a negative turn as well too. But that's what I'm saying. We have to teach our young kids, black, white, whatever, to, you know what? Okay, get down, put your hand, whatever, and just whatever. Because I always tell people, I'd rather be judged by 12 and carried by 6. Go ahead, do what you have to do. Let it be what it is. I see you might have not get arrested. You might have, and if things go the wrong way, you have a case. Now we should all stand together and stop police brutality in all races. That's what I'm saying that. But I'm just saying we should also teach our kids to not have this negativity, whatever, to say, okay, all pigs, all white cops have it out for me. All this cops have it out for me. Because again, you can't, because again, there's Hispanic cops that kill black kids. We need to protest against that. There's black cops that did stuff to black kids. We need to protest against that too. But we also got to say, hey, if a cop says, you know what, put your hands up and make it easy, and I've seen videos of this, when, like I said, put your hands up, make it easy, then yeah, you should just put your hands up, take it easy, do what it is. You might walk away that night without no problem, no incidents. But some of us don't do that, and then it instigates stuff and makes it even worse. Our next issue is some of the people who are passed away have mental issues. Sad, but true. And I don't know how we need to also figure that out. Because sometimes they got mental issues and they don't listen to orders and things happen. And it's bad that it happens this way. The kid who in Texas who walked into a dealership and was jumping on cars and stuff that late night because of a drug trip or he was mentally issued. They said it was both. So yeah, but when he charged full forward to a cop and the cop say stay still, get down on the ground or whatever, and you come running against him, he's thinking you're gonna cause bodily harm. Now a lot of people say, well, you have a taser, you have stuff like that, and I get that, and then there should be better procedures about that. I'm not denying that at all, but I can't 100% say I have 100% procedures. Some people messed up. Some people goofed. The same thing with Oscar Grant. That was messed up. The guy he went for his taser, but he mixed up his thing and he shot Oscar Grant shot Oscar Grant. That was a mistake. That was out of his thing. I don't think he willfully shot Oscar Grant, but it happened. Because he was already down, he was trying to go for the taser, and he chose the wrong side. Now the taser's on one side, and the taser on the other thing. I have made mistakes in my life, knowing where things were at, but my memory action just didn't work the right way. I'm not getting an excuse for the cops because this is a procedure. You should do certain things, but I'm just saying, what can you do when you have somebody who's coked up, who's fiending up, who got that crackhead strength and stuff like that? And you fear for your life, you might think, okay, I'm going to die, this happened. Doesn't give an excuse for the cops, but I'm just giving another devil cat situation. The next thing we should I'm pointing out that all that needs to be fixed is, I listened to a show last year, a conference, a radio show and a conference between cops, and the conference between the chief of police in Miami, chief of police in New York, chief of police in San Francisco. And people were talking about cops, and one of the hosts who was asking this conference asked a question, which was a great question. He asked, how many cops should not be cops? They say about 25%. Basically, a quarter of their force should not be cops, and half of that is because some of these guys have mental issues, but they never showed it in the time. Some of these guys they get an ego trip and think they have power because they were weaklings, or they have an ego trip, whatever. And some of them are just crooked bad cops to that abuse power because of the old saying, power corrupts absolutely. But the reason they have evidence that they could fight these cops, but the unions, sad but true, comes in and protect them. There's a union right now in the teachers union in California where they have a guy who molested a young girl, and because of the union is saving the teachers union is keeping him. He doesn't go around kids, but he goes to an administration building now, don't do the work, but they can't fire him. That's ridiculous. We have to give the power to fire back. I understand that you don't want the cops. We have to find that balance. We do have to find that unique balance in that regard to do that stuff. Because there's some cops out there should never be cops in the first place. And then right now we have a next problem, which we saw with the Dallas thing with the little micro bomb. And I justify it, but I understand why people's concerned about that. Right now, because of a lot of cops coming back coming from military zones and everything, and also they're buying the gear, we have a big problem with the militarization of the police force. So they're getting these tanks and body armor and all that stuff. Now, in most cases, certain cops in certain team, I can understand them because of the drug gang and drug lords. They got different weapons going on right now, but that's also a problem. That's on the government side. So I just laid out there are different situations that's going on there that's going on that we need to fix altogether. Different situations that needs to work together to fix it so we don't have that problem. Now, have I'm talking to somebody, a person asked me, have I ever been pulled over? Yes, I've been pulled over while driving black. Because the situation didn't make no sense to me. You pull me over for a license plate light that was out. I have two license plate lights. One was out. You pulled me over because I was in a certain neighborhood. Okay, all right. You pull me over. He came up, told me the license plate light is out. Well, that Saturday, I went to a license plate checkup. License plate checkup. What do you call it? A registration, as well, and inspection. And they said that the thing had passed, so I gave it to the cop. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna give him a warning ticket. Go fix it." When I went to the police, go to the police station downtown, and they'll give the sign. They'll sign it, and you will be all right. When the person downtown signed the paper, they was like, "He pulled you over for that." That makes me think, yeah, I know it was driving while black. I had a person on another cop who pulled me over and said, "Wow, cracking jokes because I'm an architect. I have a big cylinder thing to carry my blueprints and stuff." And in the back of the car, and thought that was, I don't know if he's being joking or not or facetious, but said, "Hey, are you carrying a bazooka back there?" I'm like, "I know you ain't saying that." "Well, no, sir, I'm not." "You have a warranty to check anything?" "Nope." Then, hey, I kept in my procedure, my rights. He gave me a warning ticket, and I moved on my way. Again, none of this was speeding, none of this whatever. Specifically, I remember when I had my older car, I had tint on my car. And I asked the police where I was working at the time, which was at the airport. I asked the police, how can I make sure these people cannot do nothing negative, whatever? So I had a receipt of when I bought the tint, and a cutout of what the percentage of the tint is that was legal. So when a cop pulled me over for that same thing, your tint's dark, I'm like, nope. I learned this from our cop, and here you go, sir. I bought it then. It is legal tint. It is not below the 20%. It's 25%, sir. And he let me go because he has no grounds to stand on with that. Now, the ultimate thing to me, and after this, I'll let people come on in. So anybody who's joining in, the question app is open. If you're listening to what I'm saying and you want to ask questions onto it or ask ideas for it. But the thing for me is this. This is a story that happened to me, and it proves my thing is because a lot of people are saying that, being a black man. I'll say this too, guys, stop wearing your pants below your damn butt, please. That's most of y'all get shot because they think you have a weapon. You're trying to run away, the pants fell down, you fall down, hurt yourself, or you try to pull your pants up, and the cops see your hand go behind your back and thinking, okay, he's gonna pull a gun. That's a quick way to get your butt killed as well, too. Really, it is. So let me, like I said, so with that, I will tell this story right here as to expound on what's going on, and then you can, for those who want to join in and add to the conversation, like I said, let me know, and I'll send you a private link. I hope, like I said, Kanoshi, you're listening, and Teresa, I hope you're listening as well too. Mrs. Feelgood, I'll send y'all the link so y'all could join in. You come in with your mic mute, and then I'll mute when I get to a point, because I'm doing this to be going on a radio show. And for those who listen to the radio show, thank you. So, basically 3 years ago, as I told many people, my main job is I'm an architect, and we draw houses, we do surveying, we do stuff like that. And we went to uptown, let's just say uptown, upper class neighborhood. Now we were supposed to do an addition for this lady and this guy. Now we supposed to do the report in for the permit the other day. So we told them that we were coming out that day, because there was basically asking us questions. So we said we're coming out that day. We came out that morning. It was me and my coworker, which is a white guy, together. We walked. I walked to the door, saw the neighbors, said hi, knocked on the door, basically ring the doorbell. If I ring the doorbell multiple times to see if you're coming, then in case not, I knock on the door just and so I ring the doorbell 3 times. Within I go like 5 minutes, then I knock on the door for the next 5 minutes. So 10 minutes is gone, making sure that this situation has been okay, whatever. Now we've done this many times and still do this to this day without no problem. So what we did was, which is kind of, it's risky, but these people have fences. So what we did is we did jump the fence, and we went to the back of the so jump the fence. So with that said, my coworker had to go to find the property owner so we could lock down the property to make sure everything's all right, and we draw and make sure we have. Sorry about that. Make sure that we have the house squared up so we could add the addition for it to get the permit, and so people could build on it the right way so they have no problems. So that's what's going on with that. Of course, the lady saw me, thought it was something crazy. Of course, I was in a jacket, a thick jacket. It was wintertime. Look at the back behind, back there. Call the police, call the cops out. Of course, she called the cops. I'm there measuring. I'm using the measuring tape that rolls up and bounds. I'm measuring the walls to make sure everything is straight. Then I was going to basically, I was almost done, and I'm going to jump back over the fence, go back to the office, draw it, and whatever. Of course, the cop came over the fence, saw that I was there, told me to freeze. Now, jokingly, when a person said that, the tape was rewinding, and I stopped the tape itself. So I really freeze when they said freeze. I froze in that remark. Now, there's time, like I said, and this goes to the part where it says time to be a smart ass or not. Of course, then the cop said, hey, no, well, not hey, basically. He just said, put the weapon down. Now, I'm looking at the tape like this is a weapon, but in my mind, I was thinking a smart ass comment, but I was like, no. I put the so-called weapon down. Get on your knees, put your hand behind your head. Now, my coworker, who's a white guy, of course, he saw that, made noise, and I was kind of scared then because I didn't want him to say, oh, there's more people, what's going on? Because at that point, the officer had his Glock really like 4 inches away from my head. He really had that. I could see the barrel of that gun looking down at me like crazy. That's the first time I ever had something like that done to me. Of course, 2 more cops came. They went up there and handcuffed him. So I got handcuffed. We jumped the fence over, and the lady came out. We had the paperwork right there and told the officer, and I told the lady came out. I told the lady, hey, lady, hey, man, we knocked on the door. We told you this. We called you. This is what it was. It was a miscommunication. The officer said, you know what? Okay, it was a miscommunication. He had handcuffed us. We walked away. We didn't do nothing stupid. We didn't act eccentric. We just followed what the cop said, and we did it. Did I feel happy that I had a gun to my face that close for something like that? No, but I was in the wrong. That was on somebody else's property without they, even though we told them we were gonna be there, they didn't want to think about it. So I could see where they're coming from. I could see where the cops coming from with that. But they didn't shoot. I didn't do nothing stupid to get myself shot. I followed whatever he said and basically got handcuffed, went outside. But you know what? Uncuff us, we was on our way. And that was my situation right there. That's what I'm trying to say, that people need to not get how should I say, like, act the fool. That's what I'm also act the fool, or at least tell your kids, hey, this is just be respectful. You won't be whatever. I mean, even if the cop done something wrong, yeah, it's gonna be is wrong. If you could live through it, you might get your day in court. But it's better to get the day in court and then get six again than get killed or brutally bashed or whatever, or hit across your head or whatever brutality you're getting. That's something that we need to take into, for instance. Oh, come on, really? So that's something that we gotta watch out. We need to come together in many aspects to call this violence. And a lot of people are saying this is uptick in violence. Not really. It's just that we see more of it because of the cameras. That's what we're doing right now. Police brutality has been, including for black people, it was worse in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It was worse. It was horrible. You get burnings. You got police officers sticking dogs and just beating the crap out of little girls and all that stuff. It don't happen in the numbers it happened back then. That's the difference. We don't have the numbers back then. And I've seen how many people are talking about, with the gun violence and stuff like that. And even putting it towards the cop, I'm like, that's not going to help either, because those laws are not going to stop the perpetuating violence that people talk about. They're really not. But again, because we could see all the strictest laws that's going on with Chicago. That didn't work out that well. But I wish people to understand that if you're gonna do something like this, we have to come with a united front. We can't do this in that certain term, because things are gonna get rough. Because we're separating ourselves in a certain way that's not helping the situation at all. And I mean, it is. We gotta think fully before we go headstrong into causing more trouble with what's going on. Well, with that said, those people who are listening, I just sent out a private link. Shout out to certain people if they want to join in the conversation. As I said, if you could respect the rules that I laid out, that's cool. We could talk about the situation that I've laid out as well too. It's a conversation, because again, there's a lot of things that I laid out that we need to do together or need to be done, because there's not one thing that's going to stop this perpetuant violence of taking innocent lives. And then we have a lot of people who are masking themselves in this cloak of, oh, we're doing it for the right. But again, you could be doing it for the right, but there are people who are using your movement and do horrible things behind it. Doesn't mean that the people ain't doing it, just that you have a perpetuation of people who are taking advantage of your system that you're setting up, and you need to weed out those people. You need to come with a united front to stop certain things. And you need to weed out people you see are doing things wrong. Because there are many things that Black Lives Matter I really don't agree with. because they don't stand up for certain people in certain cases. And then there's certain people in that organization that harass certain people. So that's what I said. I can't agree with the movement as a whole because it's not a unified front. It is not. And we need to come to, like I said, we need to come together to stop it as a whole. Because we're right now we had basically 7 people, 5 cops, 2 people who lost their lives, and this animosities keep on going more and more and more. And I cannot say that every person that was gunned down that was black was a right person, not because they have a record or nothing. If they did exactly what, sometimes there are unjustified beatings and killings. There are by the cops. But again, I can't say every black person that did that the cop wasn't in self-defense either. So we get the media that's twisting our words, twisting the reality, making it, as the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. That's not helping the situation, and they're doing certain things. And of course, when we have the 2 parts of some liberals don't like Fox News and conservatives don't like MSNBC and whatever else, that divided line is coming stronger and stronger. And yes, even though some black people say, well, you can't throw in at the black. I'm sorry. This is statistically true. And once again, I sent out 4 links out to certain people. Again, check out your Google Plus account and you can join in the conversation. But we cannot the situation, like I said, with the situation is that we can't turn a blind eye to certain things, but we just gotta do it the right way. As one of a podcast that I was listening to by somebody else, and they was saying, yes, the mess as a point of origin of the message could be good. There could be a good message, but the way that it was executed or the way it was delivered is what messed up the whole good message. And we also got to take that into consideration. I did a video earlier. Just this Saturday where a young lady who took what happened and tried to make it money out of it in a senseless way. And she could have avoided all of that by doing 2 simple things, but she didn't. Doesn't mean she's a bad person in that regards, but I think that's despicable the way she went around it and did it, and try to cloak herself with the whole stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Black Lives Matter. You could check that channel. You could check that video out called Super LBC OMG, and I talked about that. A lot of people are not really taking a good look at what's going on because, like I said before, with people saying, well, we can't put the thing about it, but I've said it in my radio show many times, and those who on the radio show, I've said it again. Statistically and factually, the people that kills the most of their own race is their own people. That's historically true and never been. I mean, everybody would say, well, the Europeans or the white person, yeah, to a degree, but they're not outpacing what black people have done for themselves all over. I heard many people come saying that we should not let slavery come back. Slavery is still happening now. In 2-4-1, it's still slavery going on in the world right now as we speak. But also, there's financial slavery where people were like how we got right now, that people begging for crumbs to give people the power to vote. I'm not begging for no crumbs. And that's the subject that on my radio show in 2017 that with more people that I have in mind that we're going to be talking about that. But that's what we need to be talking about. But the most people that kill Japanese are Japanese. The most people that kill Chinese are Chinese. The most people that kill Middle Eastern are Middle Eastern. The most people that kill Mexicans are Mexicans. The most people kill South Americans are South Americans, and so on and so on. They were killing each other way before the white man came, as people would call it. And they were doing more heinous stuff than what the white man did. Some of them came with diseases and stuff like that. Yeah, but you could go back to the Crusade times, you could go to medieval times, you could even go to some of the African tribes and how they used to kill their enemies and rape their women and do all horrible stuff before the white man came to their place. We were standing divided then. And right now in Chicago, when we have what do you call it, Chirac now, and we have so many people, black people losing their lives to black people. When you have over the 4th of July weekend, 44 black people killed, and none of those murders, nobody knows, everybody's scared, nobody want to talk about that. That's killing more black lives than the cops ever would. I'm sorry. I can't overlook that part. Some people say, oh, well, that's not, I cannot overlook that part. Statistically, I'm more concerned of a black person killing me than a white person. Same thing with the terrorists or whatever. That's what happens. That's what I know statistically I'm worried about. Just like you're more statistically to get killed in a car accident than to flying on the plane, but people have a more phobia of flying in a plane than driving a car, where you can get killed easier while driving to the airport. That's a problem. But as again, that's one of the things we need to talk about. So I was checking the question app. I have not seen that much stuff in there. I was just seeing on the Swap Swarm saying you make some really good points. I will say that. Thank you. Sorry about it, Foodie Puncher, who's my mistake. Like I said, I thought the mic was live, but it wasn't. That was my mistake because some reason for Windows 10 on my computer, when I try to start the podcast, it mutes my mic. When I was on Windows 7, it never did that. So I never caught on to that. And then when I unmuted, Google didn't want to unmute the mic. So that was my fault. What up, Derek Fisher? Again, yeah, I didn't mean to go that far. So like I said, checking out other questions from the other places I do, because I basically, for those who are listening who normally listen to the radio show, I normally put the what do you call it? I normally put the questions and get answers from all over the place. So I answer it. So normally, sometimes I don't even get any question answer. Sometimes I get an event page. Sometimes I get it into the into the YouTube page and Gmail. And that's basically going to set up for 2017. I am going to be setting up some close to this on the radio channel, so I can interact with more people and do this. Normally, for those who are going to listen from the radio side, I normally have, like, the last podcast I had, and you can check it out on the channel, I had like 4 of 10 people talking, going crazy, acting stuff. But that's more for leisure and for fun. But as a serious topic, yeah, I'll try to make it, because I didn't want people to talk over each other. But this will be a way that I'll do some of the radio show in 2017, as it's going to be the 15th anniversary of the company, and I hope you guys can celebrate with us. So let me see if I have any other questions here. Good evening, sir. can you hear me?
Yo,
Can you hear me? Micah, can you hear me? One of the issues of running a podcast, for those who are watching from the radio show thing, there are problems that goes on. This is an easy way to get people, but sometimes we get issues going back and forth. So hopefully the situation will work out again in 2017 in that regards of doing things together. But I've said, like I said, other than the person who just joined me now, hopefully his mic is working and you can hear me. I was saying that I saw other links to other people who want to join and want to add in their couple cents or their talks about what's going on with the situation. Is everything good on your side, Micah?
Yep.
Okay.
I can't stay too long though.
That's all right. Your thoughts on anything else you wanted to add on to the conversation, sir?
I just got back home from the studio, so I haven't even been keeping up with the cast.
I hear you, but okay, we like I said, we saw that senseless violence that happened last week.
Oh, you mean what's his name? Alton
Sterling.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Well, as I put it as, let's do it as a whole. I don't want to do it as one person because the bigger issue is going out of control when we try to separate stuff too much.
It does annoy me. It really does. I mean, you see your own people getting shot down by, I'm sure if any nation saw their own people getting shot down by police all the time, it would annoy them. It would piss them off. It would upset them because, you don't feel safe around your own law enforcement who has sworn an oath to serve and protect the people. So to be able to go out on the streets and not feel safe around people who are supposed to feel make you feel safe, you're going to be on edge. That's just common sense. If you can't trust the people that are meant to actually serve and protect you, then, you're going to think, who can you trust?
Okay, but even if we have this untrust with people, then how can we not have this animosity between each other?
For one, I think one of the biggest issues is that a lot of people have really not prepared themselves for the times they live in. I think we live in a somewhat delusional society where people equate racism and things like that to racism or prejudice and things like that to a social, actually not even prejudice, just racism, to a social and moral issue. And really it's not, it's an economical issue. What someone thinks of you doesn't really matter unless they have the power to do something. And in a capitalistic society, the only way you can have power is through economics and politics, owning businesses, having wealth, and being able to control the decisions of the politicians that are in that enforce the policies where you are. So I think that with Black people also, we are politically and economically unaware, and we are really unaware of how the law works. So there are a lot of cases where I don't like I said, I don't like it. I can't stand it. And I'm sure there are, and I know there's cases where it's just been like, I know there's cases where, no amount of understanding the law or whatever, no amount of understanding the law or whatever, anything like that should even would have changed the situation. But at the same time, it's, people need to learn young people need to learn, well, people in general just need to learn how to be when they're in front of the police. It's just, we may think, oh, we don't want to play by the rules and stuff like that. But the reality is, if this is the matrix you're in, then the only way to win is to play by the rules. You know, you just think when you play by the rules, you actually prove them wrong because they already have the stereotype in their mind that you're going to break the rules. Hence why they're prepared to take action. So if you show them that, look, I'm not breaking the rules, and know your rights as well. Know your rights, because by knowing your rights, you're not breaking any laws. By knowing your rights and stating them, you're not breaking any laws. You're not breaking any laws. You're not breaking any rules. And in fact, it allows you to call out on them when they are breaking their own oath. So it's just black people in general, we need to be more educated on the world around us and what's going on, because, you know, a lot of the you know, the police brutality thing like that, you know, it hasn't really changed from like the 60s, or even earlier. It hasn't really changed. It's been going on all this time. The main reason why we're shocked now, the main reason why we're getting annoyed at it now, is because it's been going on for so long. That's why. And also because for a lot of people it's a shock. It's been going on for a while, and as much as I can't stand it, you know, it gets to a point where we have to look around and say, well, what are we going to do about it? I mean, we've got some things going, like some people are doing their own little small bit. Like we've got a thing over here in the UK where, you know, we're boycotting certain stores that are not like black owned and things like that. So, you know, until, you know, we like, you know, we just send a message around to different people, tell them that we're not shopping at so and so and this, that. You know, so there are people doing their bit, and, you know, you have to commend them for trying. But the biggest problem is the lack of political awareness, the political and economical awareness. You know, if we had a better teaching of politics and economics in our community, then we would have a better understanding of how to gain wealth, how to gain power, and how to gain control. So, I mean, I can go into this, you know, I could go into this forever. Like, there's so
I got you. And I wish I got you a little earlier, but I understand. And of course, you will be back on for the radio show when I start stuff on that part of the when I do that for the radio show. Because this is recording for the radio show, but because of where I'm recording it, I'm still being known as this because you know that I want my anonymity from certain people.
Yeah, but I hear you.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying is stuff like, because I brought up, like you said, like I gave my situation, like when I got when a cop pulled me over and talked about stuff with a bazooka thing in the back, I was like, he's like, can you search your car? I'm like, you have a warrant? I wasn't wrong for that. That was my right. And he didn't do nothing. He walked away because he couldn't do nothing. And the same thing with the tint, when my tint was dark and they tried to. The tint was dark. They said it was dark, and they put me over for that. But because I asked the other cop when I bought the tint, and I had the tint box cut out, and I had my receipt. I told the cop, "Hey, this is what the other cop told me, and this is what I showed him." He was like, "Okay," and he got to let me go because I didn't do nothing illegal.
Exactly.
So it is a knowledge of knowing how the system works, as you said.
And learn to stay calm.
Yes. That is majority of the time. That's mostly the biggest thing. To stay calm.
I know we can feel jumpy because of when it comes to police because of the history and everything like that. But we need to learn to overcome these things, and we need to learn to stay calm in the face of adversity. Is that the right term I'm using? Adversary.
Yeah, you're close enough. I'm not gonna say nothing because people already know I mess with words myself. But no, and like I said, I gave her my situations, and like I said, I have no problem. Like I said, I don't agree everything with Black Lives Matter. I don't agree everything with All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter. There's some aspects in there that make sense, but the way that people are doing it is not helping the cause. Because
but that's the unfortunate thing. But that's the thing, because a lot of the people that are doing like the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of young people that started it out. And it's not their fault. They just haven't been educated in that way. Like we've been taught the 1960s way of marching and, you know, going out in the streets. And let's be honest, it doesn't really work no more.
Well, not in that regard, but well, here's a situation.
But at the same time, I don't knock the movement, you know, because at least they're trying. At least they're trying to do something right and make a change.
Okay, I understand. Like I said, I understand the aspects of, like you said, make it. Well, like I said, to make a change is, as the Dallas chief said at the time, well, why don't we have opening spaces for in these neighborhoods? Why don't you guys come and work, join the force? Should be more black people on the force to say, hey, that you could feel comfortable around that. But the reason I say that there are parts about it that's messed up is your initial stance is still that you want police brutality to stop. And now,
this is another thing as well. It's just like, we need to understand when it comes to the police, they are just a part of a system. They are part of a system. They have to play by a certain level of rules and guidelines. You know, police ain't. They have to play by a certain set of rules and guidelines. You know, then it's not. You can't. If you're gonna go for the beast, go for the head. Put it like that. The police aren't the head of this beast.
Nah, I see.
But I've said this as well, that, you know, we need, you know, more black people on the police force. And the reason why is so that, you know, they know what goes on when it comes to like police brutality and things like that. We need, you know, more so that they have a better understanding. You know, we need more black people on the force who have a better understanding of what's going on and can more relate to the people in the community.
Okay, and I agree with that. And there's some black people who said that to the on the force. Here's the thing that I pointed out early on. Okay, so you just joined, you just listened to the podcast, you just joined and you didn't listen to it. Like, it's still 40% of the population is black in America. You're going to America, and the police force is 97% of police is white. You're never going to get an equal turnout in that regard. We know that, but not also that. Where Black Lives Matter, what I'm saying with them is like, if you're gonna go for that, you also gotta go when the black cops kill black kids too, or black youths or whatever, justified or unjustified. Because I label out some cases, but of course I don't know if it was justified or not. There's still an investigation going on. But if you're gonna say police brutality is bad, we have to stop with it. You have to have police brutality, and if you wanted to stop that, we have to come together as all front and not be asking for equal rights, but then they'll still ask for special treatment.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. We need to stop this integration nonsense. Like, you know, you can't. Is the thing with integration. Integration can't work in a capitalistic society unless. Integration cannot work in a capitalistic society unless you are on the same level of the people you are integrating with. You know, Asians can integrate. Asians, white folks, and Indians and Latinos and stuff can all integrate to a certain degree. Because they all have a certain amount of wealth. So they become a benefit to each other from trading, exchanging, things like that. Now, obviously, you know, the dominant white society, they've got majority of the wealth. So there's certain levels that no nation is going to be able to integrate with them on a capitalistic level.
Yeah, but
you can't. Hold on, let me finish. Black people need to learn to become group economically conscious, so that, you know, because that is our biggest problem. We don't own and control anything, and because we don't own and control anything, because we're such a divided front, you know, we have no power.
Yeah, and the sad
You
part
know,
about this is back in the, as I talked to people off air about this, I said is what is sad. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, there was a time when we had more violence towards black people than it is now, because they were way more brutal than back then. And now we had our own shops, we had our own, because of segregation. We had our own shops, we had our own Wall Street, we had Black Wall Street.
yeah,
We had our own stuff. We came together. We were more united. But now they, and you could say it's the government. They have divided us in a certain way. You're right, but
integration.
we don't assimilate. We could integrate, but we need assimilation in that too, because
Yeah, at the end of the
they
day,
are
you need to put. At the end of the day, you need to put your own first. That there's no questions about it. You wouldn't put someone else's children before yours.
exactly. I 100% exact that. That's why I said about the whole thing with all lives matter. Like I can't sit here and say all lives matter, because if you come into my house and you try to do something badly harm to me and my family, your life is not worth nothing to me at that point.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not gonna. If it's me and you, it's basically you. I'm gonna take you down. So
Mhm.
I can't say that to regard. But as we were, like I said, all together back in the 60s and whatever, and you had people that was doing all the shops and stuff, and now we're segregated in our own way. Because I've said it before. I said this just a while ago before you came on, that statistically, I'm more worried about a black person taking me out more than a cop, more than a white person, more than whatever, because how the situation goes on. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but the probability goes that way.
Mhm.
And while we have thousands of people killing each other and doing that more than, I mean, Asians are in America and their population has grown. Hispanics, they have grown. Half of it's illegal, but still they have grown.
That is very true.
Hey, I'm not. I tell the truth, man. I ain't got no time for that. But we have been between 12 and 14, 15% for not even decades, centuries.
Mhm.
Because
We're actually, we're actually. This is the thing. We're actually imploding. We're we're starting to implode in the Western world
yeah.
because so many women kill babies for abortion. You got so many young people killing each other on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You've got so many black people suffering from all kinds of things like diabetes and overweight and heart disease
High
and
blood
all this kind
pressure.
of stuff. High blood pressure.
Yeah.
You know, you got so many black people committing suicide from depression.
That is true too.
And then to add on top of that, you've got um, you've got the incarceration rate, which is ridiculous. You've got the miseducation system, which leads to potential incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And of course, you have outside forces that we all know.
exactly, like you got the police, and you've got all things like the vaccine, things like the medical industry, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But most of our,
Mhm.
but most of most of our imploding is basically happening because of ourselves.
Well, we've got to remember we've also been socially engineered to think like that.
Majority of people
So,
have. I could agree with you on that. Majority of people have.
and although I'm a person who says you need to educate yourself and learn to break free from that, at the same time we still have to be somewhat empathetic at the plan, because there's been a very intricate plan that's been put in place. Like this is one very, very intricate chess game.
Well, yes, I had a conversation before I had a late start, and I didn't know my mic was working at the time. With a conversation with a young lady, and me and her were talking. We had a conversation back and forth, and even though we came to the same thing, and I was saying,
Hold on. Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was saying that we come to the same conclusion. Like, she was like, I should help these people or whatever. I said, look, if I've been burned too many times because of my experience. If you don't want to help yourself, I can't help you.
That's the
I'm
truth.
sorry. And I'm not. She was saying, well, you got to keep it all open because you got to help our people. I'm like, I see. I see. I'm different from most people, and I will admit to this. That's why I said at the beginning, I'm not pro this or that or whatever color. As long as you're a decent person, moral, a family man, all that stuff. Because I don't care what color you are. If you're willing to help yourself to get out of a situation, I will help. I will help you. But if you push my hand away, I can't do nothing else for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do nothing else. And the sad part about it, I've lost people who have tried my best to help them out, and they've done, and it's sad, and they've lost their lives. These guys have been in the hood or whatever, and I say, dude, I'm gonna help you out to do this, and I say, oh man, that person's not gonna help you. He said, I told you stop hanging out with those guys because those guys are no good now, man. Those my brothers or whatever. Okay, I understand that, but they're up to no good and they're going to get you killed. And sadly, but surely, that person did die because of them. And it's sad. But I can't, again, what can I do at that point? I was trying to tell her. She kind of understand after we went back and forth, is when I said, when you have 2,000 people kill them, 2,000 people in Chicago, which they call it Chirac, in 6 months, kill themselves, and 97% of it was basically black on black crime, and no, those people can't be found. They can't find the killers because people are scared. Even the worst one out of all, which is, if anybody's listening, check out. There's a young kid called Tyshawn Lee. That whole story is just disgusting from end to end. These guys, this 9-year-old boy was basically tricked into coming into an alley because of what his father did, and they executed him. 7 shots to the chest. 7 shots to the chest. That's just bad. Nobody from Black Lives Matter went up there to talk about that. Nobody from All Lives Matter went up there to talk about that. Nobody talked. That's what I'm saying. Nobody talks.
And that's the thing. We need to stop going on that. We're so self-righteous because there's a lot of things we're doing that is just effing us up.
Yeah, that's what that is my point. And
it's like, we'll comment when another race does it to us, but when we do it to ourselves, it's just like, we've got excuses. I don't agree with that. Like, at the end of the day, I understand social engineering has taken place. I understand, yes, there is a racist war against, particularly black men. I know that there is I know that society has been geared towards pushing black people out of the economy. I do know these things. I spent hours researching this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and wait for people to just have a change of heart all of a sudden. No. I gotta get my team. Simple.
I hear you. And the thing about it that makes it bad is the reason I said the story was despicable all the way around. His mother also try to scan the system, and she was telling people to go have a GoFundMe to bury her son. Mm-hmm. And she took the money and bought a brand new car.
That's just terrible. That's disgusting.
And then went to Las Vegas. And then when the dealership found out, wait, I saw you on the news, and called her out. People say, wow, that's not what we send the money for. She's like, oh, my son would have wanted me to have that car and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, 1 week later after that discussion, she totaled the car. She totaled the car. Accident. Car's gone.
See, that's just wasteful. That's disgusting. This is the problem. It's disgusting, inappropriate behavior like that.
Yeah, and that's what's not helping the situation to other people in that regards. But we have to come together. And like I said, that's what my point is. Basically, before you came on, it's not a silver bullet that's going to stop this. It's not one thing that's a problem.
Exactly.
And I said it was also we have the number one reason I said this is the top of the list if I have to say anything. And I said it before, so I'll say it while you're on the air. Pull up your pants. You won't get shot if people don't think that you try to pull up your pants and hand go behind your back. Seriously. I've seen many people got killed because the cop thought he was going for something behind his back, but he was trying to pull his pants up. Pull up your pants.
Not even just that, man. Like, if you gotta run from the police, you have to run from the police. But I understand. But how the hell you gonna run from the police when your trousers is hanging halfway down your backside? Like, come on, man. Use some common sense, fam. What the hell? You're basically advertising advertising yourself for prison. You're basically advertising yourself for prison, fam. Like you're advertising it. You're saying, look here, look, officer, here's my ass. I clearly want it. Like, come on.
Well, that is one. Also, and then goes to the next part, like we just talked about.
People just hanging down in trousers, man. You meant to run from the police when your trousers is not even, when your trousers is coming down to your knees, fam. Like, really? What kind of moist behavior is that? Like, you know,
I hear you.
If you have to get away from the police, you have to get away from the police. Keep yourself prepared.
Okay.
Bite you on the short backside to the world. Like, nobody wants to see your crusty boxes, fam.
Well, thank you for throwing a little humor into it, which is, yeah, because it's a serious talk. But yeah, that's one. The next one would be, why don't, as we just talked about, you know what? If you do things the right way and stay calm and do exactly majority, not even majority, I'm giving it this is not a true number. I'm just feeling this, because I've been to situations again that I listed off on what I did before you came on, Micah, that that if you act calm and be all right, then you won't get in trouble and you could walk away from it. Because when you may
even be able to arrest the police, and I'm not joking. Yeah. If they're in violation of their own rules and guidelines, then you can form a citizen's arrest.
Because I have been, like I said, when that situation when that cop had a gun 4 inches away from my head, hey, I did anything he needed me to do. Now I won't do like the guy in add a little joke in here because this happened for real. I won't be the guy like in Memphis who the cop needs to go. That cop was not needed to. He needs to go to jail. Ask the guy to give him a BJ so he could to get out a ticket. I ain't doing that.
What the hell? That actually happened?
Yep, you're gonna be shooting me, son. You're gonna be shooting me because I ain't doing that.
Right. Goodbye, world. I clearly wasn't meant to be here.
Exactly. But that's for brevity, but that really did happen. But my point is, if you act calm and you go follow the procedures, whatever, you could get out of it most of the time. The next thing that's another problem is, other than we got to teach our kids to understand how authority works, is also again, we have to go all across the board. If we want to stop police brutality, we got to stop it. Black versus black cop beating up a black kid or a white kid doing. We have to go all over because that's what we're trying to stamp out. And if we stamp out in that way, you're going to have, because we are 40% of the population. You know what would be good if what 40% could do? If we have 60% of the population come and help us out. And stand united and say we need to stop police brutality. So we got to stop that division of that kind of divide. That's the next thing. Another thing that we need to do is we also know that some cops should never be cops in the first place. And I talked about that before you came on. There was a conference we had the police chief from Miami, New York, and San Francisco talking about 25% of the force should not be there. But we can't fire them because of the unions. And some of these cops are bad cops. Bastard. Yeah, and some of these cops also should not be there because they have mental problems as well too. They also have this ego trip that because the old saying, power corrupts absolute.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, well, you know what I meant. That ego trip that make them feel like, oh wow, somebody got a messed up mentality too. That when they was bullied back in high school or whatever, and now they got a gun and a badge, they feel they could do anything too. So it's not on, like I said, it's on the citizen side, it's on the government, and then you got the government side, like I said, with the unions and stuff like that. And you have also the militarization, like how that happened in Dallas, how that guy got killed by a bomb, a robot going and blow up the bomb. You have militarization of the police force. So it's the government, it's the cop side, and it's the citizen side. So we need to all come together. It's not a silver bullet going to stop all this one shot. But right now, we're divisive and we divide ourselves in the different camps the messed up way. And we know better. We know this better than anybody because on this channel, we talk about gaming. And no matter how good, no matter what we could say a game is doing good, people are going to still divide themselves into 3 camps because of negativity. So,
you know what it is? A lot of these movements are just there to make insecure people feel good about themselves. Like they're doing something good for the community. Like they're fighting for a good cause. When really and truly, they're just being used for an agenda.
Well, you know what, and well, you said it right there, and also it makes people feel like they feel that their social media needs to show that I am doing something for a cause, because, like I pointed out,
It makes them feel like they're part of something.
yeah. But that want for pointing for something also creates negativity as well too. That's what I'm saying. Because like in my last video that's on this channel, I talked about this female, who, a beautiful woman, but the way she went around fighting for her cause, the reason that people fighting for their cause got messed up was because she tried to promote herself to make more money other than fighting for the cause. That was just what she did. And that's not helping the cause at all. That just take the cause.
Well, that will make people not want to support you, but support our people, because then it will think, oh, how can we trust them? They're going to do silly things like that, go buy a car and go Vegas. I mean, we already demonstrate a piss poor use of money when we're always going and blowing our money in other people's businesses. And that's another thing as well. Like, if you really want to make an impact, get your head out of Nike, Ralph Lauren, and all of these places that just burn your money away. Just like in gaming where we say speak with your wallet. Well, black people, you need to speak with your damn wallet. Stop spending in shops that,
Well,
stop spending in shops of people that don't look like you.
Well, it's not even that. Like, what I watched a video earlier this week when a guy was like, "Okay, we come together to talk about Black Lives Matter. We talk about when a white cop kills a black person together, but we don't come to organize to other things." He's like, wait a minute, but where do I seen black people organize? And this is not all black people, of course, but it's a certain percentage of the society that does this in the black community. That, oh wait, when the new Jordans come out, y'all right here and got lines to go to get the new Jordans. When something's going wrong with certain government funding, you're there for that because you're missing what you want. But for the true equal rights that you want, you don't, like, better, like you just said, for better schools, for better medicine, for better this, we don't organize ourselves for that.
But we complain about it all day, every day.
All day, every day, but we don't organize ourselves and say, "Hey, I think we should have a better school."
Messiah, innit? We're waiting for the Messiah. We're waiting for our Messiah. We're waiting for someone to save us instead of saving ourselves.
Yeah, I can see that. Everybody looking for. I could see that totally hardly, because everybody has done certain things to,
The joke is Jesus said, "Go and make disciples of every nation and spread the word." So, like, I don't know why people are sitting around waiting for Messiah. Jesus done told you what you need to do.
But what you just said makes the sense of what I'm talking about. Like I told my friend, like, she was like saying, but this situation that, like, again, I can't argue and say that I'm not. I can't say, okay, because she was saying that I was saying that I'm better than certain people. I don't think so, but I know that I had a more difficult chance of opportunity to make what I make, to get where I am to this day, and I did it. And when I see other people who have better opportunities than me waste it, then I can't say nothing to that except for, well, you know what? I took the opportunity that you didn't take, and I made something of myself. And you can't be crying and moaning because you had an opportunity from the get-go before I did. And that door was open wide for you for about years, while it was open wide for me for a couple seconds, and I slipped in and I took the opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that regard right there is not helping stuff. And then, like you said, we have to also, as a community and a nation, we gotta understand how we use our money. We got to. That's you are right. That is very powerful, and we need to talk about that, and that will be on the radio show, not on this channel right here, of course. Because I just wanted to talk about this topic for once, let people understand it. But and for those who are listening from the radio show, yeah, that's what I do this from. Yeah, we're gonna be talking more about this stuff in 2017 about education and how we gotta do certain things in 2017, because some of the battles we are losing because it's not that we're not even paying attention. It's just that we don't even
Half of us don't even know what's going on.
Exactly. You speak the truth right there, my friend. So that's what's going on in
It's
that
like,
regard.
unfortunately, we're setting up our children, our future generations for failure.
Yep.
Because we're not doing anything now to try and change the situation.
Yeah. And
That's
you know
why.
what?
That's one of the reasons why the young kids are going. That's why some of the reasons why these young people are going on so unruly, because they're not stupid. They know Wagwan, but everyone else thinks they're stupid and doesn't want to listen to them. So they just rebel.
True. And we all have our rebellious stages we had. We had those rebellious stages, but I still
You need
say
to
that.
start just telling the kids. You need to start just telling the kids what it is they're gonna face. There's no point in sugarcoating it for them anymore. Let's just done with the Santa Claus and tooth fairy stories and just be real with them, because these kids today, they ain't stupid. They realize Santa Claus ain't real by the time they hit 4 years old.
Yeah, you're right. But we still need to open our eyes. They need to open our eyes to see what's going on.
Hashtag bring back the Black Wall Street.
I know, right? We are in that regard perpetuating that thing. But again, let's understand how that works out, because I don't want to feel that we are dropping the ball in certain thing. But you said it yourself when you first came on, like, yeah, I all I could do right now is teach people who are willing to learn, who want to learn from me, and I mean like a real, like a teacher pupil kind of way. But like, understand, wow, like, how did you became successful? How did you did this? How you do that? Hey, let's have a conversation. I did this and did that. You know, you don't have to do it my way, but understand what this means and what that means. You know, and we don't do that no more. We don't do that. And also, like I said, if I get kids, God's willing, if I ever get kids, I want to teach my kids the same thing too. I want to teach them how to respect the officers, how to do stuff like that. Don't do it. I'm not gonna tell them. I'm not gonna say whatever it is, because I've seen people say, well, you know, the stuff that happened to the guy in Minnesota, like he reached for something, like I got pulled over before I went back home, before my funeral and stuff like that, and the cop pulled me over. I reached over, nothing happened, because I wasn't not threatened to the cop. I didn't act stupid. I was calm, and I reached over, and he didn't whatever, and that was it. Now it's situations that have been jumpy, and I think that all goes into the neighborhood and where you were at, and all that stuff adds to that, multiply the skepticism. Yeah, it does. Because where I was not in a, you know, it was in an open, not an open place, but just a regular street. Everything was cool and everything's done in that regard. But yeah, but you know, it is what it is in that regard. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. You know how to stay calm and composed, and not, you know, panic, and not, you know, try and put on a front or anything like that.
True. So that is something we need. I think that's something we need to add to it, add to this conversation, and add to it. But you know what? It is what it is. I said I hope that we could. It's a conversation. None of us. I mean, there are solutions, but it's not one solution. It's multiple solutions that need to come together. And some of this stuff is divisive. That's why I say I understand on principle what people are talking about. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I said to the young lady too, I understand on principle what happened, but I don't think the way how things are going right now is helping out. We is pushing towards more.
No, we exercise a lot of inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
As a community, we exercise a lot of inappropriate behavior. Yeah, and then we make excuses for it.
Yeah, we do, and it's not helping out just the general setup of how things are going.
No, it's not. It's
yeah.
You know, we become we become, as time goes on, we become more and more self-destructive.
Oh man, you speaking better than I could say it right there. So, well, with that said, I wish you had joined in a little earlier. I know you're still gonna bounce out. Mostly, I had other people that joined in, but things happen, of course, and they're over at another channel doing things, which is cool. I wanted them to have fun, other than the serious topic that I'm talking about. That's cool. I didn't have nothing to add to that topic because I basically said many things already about the stuff. So,
I've got something coming in the works. I'm not sure when it's going to be out yet, but hopefully, it's I've got something for the whole, the whole situation with I mean, how long? It's been like a year since he passed, isn't it?
yes, it was July 11th.
Yeah, so I've got something coming for that. It's just a
Okay.
matter of when I find time. I've just been very busy.
Everybody has been busy. I also, it's for those who this is not your type of videos on this channel. I have another video that should be uploading tonight that's going to be talking about the same thing, like I said, that he just said. And for those who are watching in the future who are part of a certain show, like I said, I ain't gonna say the show and stuff right here or name, but the radio show, this person right here will be joining me more. You might hear more musically and in more talks next year with my co-hosts.
Man's gonna pop like 5th of November, innit?
Huh?
So man's gonna pop like 5th of November, innit?
Well,
you takes 4th of July.
got you. Well, this guy is going to be join on. His name, of course, is Apple Disciple. So check out for what's going on with him. Like I said, musically and like stuff like topics like this, we'll be having more and more on the radio show in 2017. So with that said, and thank anybody out there who listening now, listening in. Like I said, I mean, I hope I don't. If I apologize for a real topic like this. If I lost people who unsub from this channel because of this, because this is a different channel. Hey, it is what it is. We part on good terms. But because sometimes sometimes you could understand people's gaming thing, but then politics and real thoughts, you think, I might not be cool like that. So again, I'm as basic as I spoke about. I'm objective all the way. I really don't do that whole stuff. That regards. Again, my people are people. My people is people who are good, decent people who want to work for a better future. That's it. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what race you are. You want to do good, you do good. You don't hurt nobody else. You don't take their lives or mess with their money or their personal liberties. You're on my side, and I'm pro you. If not that, then hey, we got problems.
Well, I don't see how. This is the thing. I don't do the pro thing because I don't see how. I don't see how I can be pro me. I'm just me. I'm me. I don't need to be pro. I don't need to try and be pro myself. I am all that I am.
Check.
I can't be pro and I can't be pro and I can't be con me. I can just be me.
Check.
So I don't believe in all that pro-black nonsense and all that kind of. Well, it's not nonsense. Let me take that back. But I don't believe in using terms like pro-black and stuff like that. I shouldn't, or saying I'm conscious and stuff like that. I shouldn't have to prove that I am the skin color that you see me in. Like that should be obvious to you. I shouldn't have to prove. That's the next part I said. I shouldn't have to prove that I have common sense. That should just be everyday life. I shouldn't have to prove that I'm aware. That's everyday life. You should be aware of your surroundings at all times. You wouldn't drive in a car and daydream, would you?
Okay. And that's true. So with that said, to anybody out there to the channel, like I said, thank you for giving me your time and ears for a real conversation. Don't worry, we'll get back into the jokes and cracking jokes and talk about gaming as much as we normally do. But thank you for y'all. Leave your comment when you need to leave your comments. We're cool with that. And with that said, I wish everybody a good night. And like I said, just be careful of your surroundings. And if you are there, like I said, educate who you're around and try to stop this division between a lot of people. But I know sometimes it just can't help it because certain things as my
and take some police numbers down. And everyone's got phones these days. Everyone's got phones with cameras and Snapchat and all of that kind of stuff. Snap some of this shit. Take some videos. You're well within your rights to. As long as you stay within a certain distance, you know, you're allowed to observe the police and what they're doing. You know, that is your right. They are your
Yep.
public servants.
But be
Other way round.
careful. Yeah, you're right. But I think before you jumped on, I also played devil advocate to share how that kind of video could also work against you. Can also tell not the whole story, but a messed up story as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've taught so you have. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna listen to it later on or whatever, but that's
Well, obviously get a thorough analysis of what's going on. Like, you know, don't try make it look like it's more or less than what it is, and don't half-hearted. Just get the honest footage. Get the honest footage. Build a community. You know, come together. Go over to the police station. Show them the evidence that you have, and you know, do what you can to claim justice. It's you know, it is possible to have a peaceful revolution.
Yep. Oh, we can't say nothing about that. So with that said, I wish everybody a good night, and I will catch you. Like I said, this channel will go back to its normal state. Those who are listening from the radio show crowd, you guys, I'm gonna, like I said, this is gonna be more the format I'm gonna set up for 2017 to be more interactive. And again, my boy Alpha Cypher is gonna be on a radio show more and musically, and
my single's coming out soon.
Okay, so we'll check
my single "Who's on the Mic" that's coming out soon. So yeah, make sure you check that out on youtube.com Alpha Disciple. All
right. So with that said, we wish you all a good night and thank you for your time and air, and everybody have a safe night if you're out driving. And like I said, be careful what's going on with the news. Please do not just close mind yourself just one outlet. Look at all outlets. You will get a better grasping of what's going on in your surroundings. All right. Good night.
Good night.